Hey guys, Kev here, and I have a couple of concepts to unbox for you, and I have a sale to talk about. So let's get into it. The first one's going to be a new release, and then I will talk about the sale. The sale is on left-handed knives. So Kansept has a few designs that they've brought out in left-handed format. And they now have all their left-handed knives on sale for 30% off with the code LeftyEDC So you can get 30% off any of the left-handed knives they're selling. I'll show you those in a little bit. But first, let's talk about the Cybin. So this is a new model from Edgy Knife Works. And really excited to check this out because the video and pictures I've seen make it look absolutely sexy. And I believe I've seen the custom version before, but I could be crazy. I don't think I reviewed it, but I believe I have seen it. And it has a little 52 on there, so I don't know if these are numbered or if just the bags are numbered. But this thing looks absolutely sick. Look how it's like sleek it is. It's kind of funny. This is the second pony knife I've had in the last couple days. I had the Orlock as well. Was it the Orlock? I think it was called. Another Kansept, and that one was another licensed design from Terry over at, I believe, 1931 Leatherworks. But this is the Cybin from Edgy Knife Works, and god damn it, it is beautiful. I'm not the biggest fan of these big pony humps. I feel like Sparrow Knife Co. made them popular on the Strix. Now, obviously, I like a little poon. This is the stout that I designed. This is the first knife I designed, and I love it. And I love that little bit of poon that you can kind of come up on, rest your finger in there, but it's more subtle, I think. So I do like poon. It just comes down to the knife. Now, what I really like about this knife is how that poon comes up into that alien hump, and then it swoops down into this sort of concave and into what almost makes you think of a clip point. And essentially, I guess you would call this a clip point sheep's foot, a sheep's cliff. Sheep's clip, a clip foot. Got it. It's a clip foot. Because it really is a sheep's foot blade. It's got a little bit of belly, but then it has that amazing tip. And that's one thing that, god damn, this is nice. The size is perfect. Let me figure out the thumb flick here. We have an internal lock relief that's really nice. There it is. Now, being left-handed, this is being left-handed, it's going to be a little tougher reverse flicking it. I really hope they do a lefty of this knife. That would be fantastic. Yeah, not going to be the best if you're left-handed like me. You can come up on that pivot and get it to work. Obviously, the thumb flick is probably going to be easier. Yeah, I can't get in there enough. I could roll it. But if you're right-handed, which, 90% of you are, then, god damn. I just love how thin the handle is, how short the handle is. I love the handle design. As some of you might know if you watch the channel, I really hate when a handle is thick up here and then gets thinner coming down. I much prefer it like this, where it's kind of even, or it bulges a little bit at the end. You get that little bit of extra space here because it just feels more comfortable in the hand. This melts into your hand. Wow, this is really comfortable. And then you have that poon there, that's the reason I like a poon on a knife, because you really get that nice poon spoon right here, and that's where your thumb can rest in and lock in for slicing. And you don't need a bunch of jimping because I don't know if any of you have spent time just slicing the shit out of some cardboard, but For example, last weekend I was cutting down a bunch of boxes. I still had some left over from the furniture we got. And I was testing out the Vero fixed blade that I got in. It was the Axon fixed blade, and I really love it. It's a slicey beast and everything. But it has pretty aggressive jimping on the spine. And I was really bearing through some cardboard because there was some double layered areas where they kind of reinforced the corner. And I'm pushing through there, and there's this really harsh jimping there, and I pull my thumb off, and my thumb is just like indented with this jimping, and it literally hurt. Now it was kind of extreme because, I was really pushing down, but still. So I actually prefer, in a lot of cases, when there's not crazy jimping. Now, I don't mind jimping if, again, like here's the stout, it's not as aggressive. Now, this is still nice and sharp and bitey, but it's not like when I push down my thumb, it doesn't feel like I'm, tearing myself up. And then you could choke up here where there's no jimping. So I don't think jimping is always necessary on the spine of a blade. I do like let's see if I can find an example from either myself or someone else's knife here. Oh, here's one of ours. This is the Bender. If you look at the Vox style jimping down here, I call it that because Voxnez, Jesper Voxnez, basically invented it. But when you get your finger down here, it's a nice landing spot. You feel it. You know where you are. But look at it. It's not like shredding your finger or anything. It's not meant to like not let you move your thumb once you put it there. It's just meant to locate. It's meant to give you a little bit of resistance so that you can push through and not slip if maybe there's a little oil or wetness there or something. So that's a good way to do it. Or in this case, you have that poon, and you ride into that poon spoon, and you're locked in. I mean, you're not going anywhere once you get in there, right? And it's super comfortable. You're going to slice through all day. You have this nice blood groove / fuller that comes out to the end to that clip. Look at the action on this thing, though. Sheesh. Fires out. The D10 is absolute money. This is an excellent design and execution from Kansept. I'm getting used to the thumb flick because I'm on the lock bar. I really suck at that, but I'll get used to it. And the D10 is great. You can see it's clicking there. It's a little bit of movement, but I mean, it's really more, maybe the slightest bit of lash, but I wouldn't really classify it because it's kind of like just the detent ball starting to pull out, because this is a pull out. So she said, because it's a little bit of a heavier blade because of all this meat at the end down here. Yeah, it's tight in there. It feels good. That's what she said. 52 out of 300. So they are numbered. That's pretty cool. I really want to fire this thing left-handed. I could probably come down to the clip and do it down here. Oh, baby. There's your edgy Knifeworks logo, maker's mark right there. Very cool. You can check him out on Instagram. Pretty active on Instagram. He does reels and videos and whatnot over there. Very cool. Just such a good flick, man. Excellently designed hole. Again, that's what she said. But your finger just gets in there, and then you line up the perfect... Ah, man, it just flicks so well. I don't know how to explain it. But you know how some knives, you flick them, and you kind of feel like you have to do a lot of work and like kind of like wrist it out like this to get it out, or you got to kind of like angle it right to get the flick. This knife, your finger just, it's like I'm barely even in the hole. Like, God damn, that's what she said too. But I'm barely in the hole, and it just catches you. It's not sharp or anything. It's a stonewash blade. But it just catches so well and fires. Man, this is so well done. They did an excellent job on this. Look at that steel insert. Everything looks really clean too. That internal lock relief is beautiful. That clip, I like the design of the clip. It's a little pokey here. They rounded it off, but you don't feel it anywhere, so not an issue. Love the frag pattern. They've been doing a lot of that lately, which is really cool. This is like a bronze frag pattern with a stonewash blade. S35VN, which is great. And the action is wonderful. What do we have here? Looks like we got T8s down here. Ah, damn it. No, looks like T6s. That's a Kansept thing. You can fight them all day. They just, they either just love T6s. At this point, I don't think the excuse anymore that I was using for a while was they just have so many of them that they want to use them up. No, I think they're making more. It's been like 2 years since I've said that, so they're making more T6s. They just love them T6s, baby. Now they do tool them pretty well, so like I can get in there and I feel confident with their T6s. I'm not like worried I'm gonna strip them out or anything. I don't know if I ever have, but you can get your driver in there pretty deep. Again, what she said, and so it's fine. I just at this point it's a preference. Most of us just want T8s on everything, so I don't know why Kansept doesn't just do what the people want. I'm sure every designer that they work with says, can we make these T8s? And they say, no, sorry. You'd think after the 57th person to say, hey, can we make these T8s? They would say, hey, maybe we could, make these T8s. But no, they say, no, it's not structurally strong enough with a T8. We're worried the head's going to snap off. Okay. Just make the hole a little bigger and use a bigger head. Yeah, that's what she said too, but it's like, come on. All right, sorry. But anyway, I don't want to diss this knife for that. That is a Kansept thing. This knife is utterly fantastic. The plunge grind comes down. It looks like they got a good almost like a 90-degree drop off, almost like Spyderco style, if that makes sense. It's not, but it's pretty quick. And it looks like the plunge ends back here where my nail is. So you might get like, one sharpening, 2 sharpenings out of it. Not an expert on that. So somebody who is can let us know. Now you'll see right here, the stop pin hits right in that area there. So you're not going to be able to, well, let's see. It hits back here. So back here, I don't know. You're probably not going to be able to Dremel that back, but maybe. I don't know how many of you guys care about that. Nice tip. This is what I really like about this knife. Because, going back to the stout here, and this will be your size comparison. I love the size of this knife. Really just fantastic size. I mean, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I think I like the handle design here a little bit better. You don't get the 50-50 choil, but yeah, it feels really good anyway. You're pretty close to the edge there. I mean, here you're going to be right up on it, but you're going to get more blade length out of it here. Anyway, that wasn't the point I was trying to make. It's not why I brought it out. If you look at the blade shapes, one of the things that I don't love about the stout, I love this knife, obviously, is it doesn't have the best penetration with the tip. And it's rare, but there are occasions where I want a little bit more when I'm opening something or doing something. And so like we're working on a V2 of the Pony, which is a smaller version of this knife, like a more premium version, working on that with Riot. And I was trying to figure out a way that we could make that tip angle, that angle come down a little bit and get a little bit more blade here where that tip comes together so that you get just that little bit more penetration. But if you look at this knife, you have that cutoff here, and then boom, you get that. You get that extra bit of penetration. I'm going to show you another example. So this is a knife that that we have. This is called the Mash, Divo Mash. And we did sort of the same thing here. Now, this is obviously exaggerated. It's got a little bit more sci-fi to the blade shape, obviously. But when we first designed this knife, it was a reverse tanto, which it still is, I guess. But it was more like a, what would you call it? Reverse tanto, a spay, like a spay style blade. This right here came out a little more, and the blade came straight down more. And essentially, it wasn't as aggressive here. Think of the reason we did it was because when we first designed the Mash, we had people comparing the blade shape, mostly the blade shape, to the Richard Rogers Slim, or Slim Utility, the Slut. Hopefully you guys know what I'm talking about. You can look it up. And that one has that blade shape that I'm talking about. So if you look that up, you'll see it. You can also check my previous videos on the Mash, like the first prototypes. And it had that blade shape. So when we went to production, we said, you know, we talked to Richard Rogers, and he's like, dude, it looks fantastic. No issue for me. You should go with it. And we were like, you know, so let's change it. So I was thinking, why don't we just cut this line off right here? And make it more aggressive. So Colin and I worked on that, and Colin ended up coming up with this, and it's fantastic because it made this area more of a straight line down to the tip, gives you that extra penetration right here compared to the stout. Now, it's not much, but you get more, right? So when you're doing utility cuts or whatever, you have that extra little bit of tip to work with. And I love that. And that's something that this knife does extremely well. It's kind of like if you took the blade off of a Sparrow Strix, right? And that one is going to have this hump, but then it's going to have more of that traditional sheep's foot Warren Cliff look to it. And if you just cut that line off on the end of it, this is what you would get. And it looks badass too. So absolutely genius. Great design here from Edgy Blade Works. Really cool. So this is the Cybin, guys. These are available from Kansept, I think. There's only 300 of them, so shit, they might be gone because I mean, if I was you, I'd be buying this. It's Kansept, so you're talking about $160 for this thing. And it's one of the coolest designs I've seen. So I know some of you are going to say, oh, it looks like a Strix. Oh, it looks like your mom's panties. I get it. But it also has a very unique feel to it, in my opinion. This handle being slim, being short like this, the way the lock bar is done, the internal relief, the clip, the way that blade tip, the way it ends there, the whole pattern. I mean, this is a unique knife, and it's fantastic. So great job. And check it out, guys. And I'm going to talk about these Lefty knives here in a second. I do want to just pull up the Cybin. Let's see if it's available. They do sell at dealers as well, so maybe they're available at other places. But they are available, it looks like. In stock. They have some Damascus ones. I'm not the biggest fan of that Damascus blade. But the one I have here is available. They're $170 in frag, and then $160 in just like a plain stonewash. A lot of you guys are going to like that. A bead blast handle with, I believe it's a stonewash blade, right? That's what that looks like to me anyway. So 160 bucks. You kidding me? So I'll put a link down below if you guys want to use that link. It does help the channel as usual, but it is totally up to you. Absolutely killed it. Love it. The Cybin. Okay, let's talk about the Lefty knives. So they sent me one of them, and then I have this one here. This is the Fenrir from Sparrow Knife Co. And this is my favorite left-handed knife from Kansept. If you're going to get one, get this one. It's so good. It's this sort of like sub-frame lock, reverse bolster lock thing. Really cool. So you can see it's a frame lock here, but then it gets covered by this onlay and becomes sort of like a liner lock. So for me, a bolster lock or a liner lock is still the best kind of left-handed knife for me. I'll bring the stout back. This is a left-handed knife right here. And this is a bolster lock, so you don't have that problem covering up or having an fully exposed frame lock. Other left-handed knives that I have are like the Kingpin from Notorious EDC. And it's a full frame lock, and sometimes I struggle with it because I go to do the reach around and I can't because my finger's on the damn lock bar, and I just stink with full lefty knives that are frame locks. Now, you know, I've gotten used to it. I can get off of there, get on the clip mostly, and I can get it. But it is something I have to constantly think about. I have some Veros, like this is a bolster lock as well. That's the Synapse, and then I have the Axon as well. I think I have one other lefty somewhere. I could be wrong. Let me just take a quick gander through my shiz here. That might be it. I do have a Pyrite lefty button lock, actually, which is really cool. But essentially, the only one that's a frame lock is this one. And I've had customs that are frame locks. And it's just a thing where it's tougher to use for me. So anyway, my point is that's what's really good about this one. And if you're a lefty and you're thinking, I might pick up my first left-handed knife, you know, I haven't... oh, I know what I was thinking of, dummy. It's in my pocket. Oh, it was in my pocket. I left it on the table over here. Sorry. I just opened this yesterday. This is the Kunwu Gringo. And they have the Gringo, the Primo. They have the... they have another one, the Padre, the Compadre in Lefty. And they're all frame locks, basically. And so I can't really thumb flick this well because I always put my damn finger on the lock bar. And so this is what a lot of people do. They do this and they lock it up with their thumb, and then they complain and say, the detent's way too stiff. I can't open the damn thing. What's wrong with the detent? Well, it's because your finger's on the lock bar and you don't even realize it sometimes. You're like, I swear I'm not touching it, but you are. Any little pressure can mess with that stuff. So if it's your first rodeo, or like me, you're left-handed and you're used to just fondling right-handed knives so often that your fingers are always like all over the place, especially if you're left-handed, right? Where does your finger go? Your finger goes right here because you don't have to worry about anything. Because the frame lock's always over here as a lefty using a right-handed knife. We never have to worry about the lock bar. Right? Where's that Cybin? You never have to worry about the lock bar. Right? You're worried about where your thumb goes with the lock bar when you're left-handed. You don't want to put your thumb on there because then you can't flick it, right? So then when you get a left-handed knife, you're like a baby, you don't know what to do, and you're always on the lock bar. So I always recommend you go for knives that are not frame locks, but you know, you do whatever you want. This one's awesome. The Fenrir. Apologies for that rant. I'm going down rabbit holes here. Blade shapes and lock bars. So this is the Pelican EDC. I actually had one of these like a couple years ago, and I love this knife. It's such a good design, and this is a frame lock. Could have just used this as the example, you dum-dum. But this is a frame lock. Very nice. Again, it's going to be a sort of sheep's footy blade shape. And this is a really good one, too. You have really good ergonomics on this. This is one of my favorite ergonomic knives ever. Pelican EDC. You can see the action on them out of the box is phenomenal. Dead nut centered. You can reverse flick it like a dream. That's the nice thing about a full lefty, is now you can put your thumb wherever you want and reverse flick. It's the opposite problem as what we just discussed. But the thumb flick takes a little bit of practice. In this case, the detent is dialed more for a thumb stud. It's not bad by any means, but it's not super strong. So I can put my fingers here a little bit and it'll still fire out. So this is one that you could still go with and not have a problem. But you can see there, it happens. You lock it up and you go, God damn it. So just a learning curve. But I love the size of this knife. It's a really sweet little EDC. I mean, it's not tiny. Here's the Fenrir again. Fenrir is about 3.5 inches of blade. This is about 3 1/4, I would say. The Cybin is going to fall probably right between these two, or maybe closer to the Pelican. Let's see. I think it's going to be like 3.3. Yeah, right between them. Yeah, Kansept. If you make another lefty, this is the one, guys. But yeah, the Pelican is a great one. This one was designed by Maxron, right? K Maxron, I believe. And really cool. Yeah, it says K Maxron right there. Pelican EC S35VN. It's got a great, just a great knife. Check out my videos on this from years ago. So cool. So these are still available because they're left-handed and they just don't sell as many left-handed knives. So let's look up left-handed. And here we go. So use the code LeftyEDC30 and you'll get 30% off of these. So the Pelican EDC here, $173. So, I mean, what's that? $50 basically you would get off. So it'd be like 120 something for this guy. That's pretty sick. $170 for the Fenrir I have here. And they have this one in stock. Highly recommend that. And that one would be, you know, similarly priced. They have the Warrior. That was the first one. That's crazy. This is taking me back, guys. I have videos on all of these knives, by the way. So I will put a link throughout this video. I will drop links to all my left-handed Kansept videos. That's funny. Wasn't the biggest fan of the Warrior. It was just, I don't know. Not the biggest thumb stud only guy, even though this has that. It just has a really unique awesomeness to it otherwise, so it passes. But in the Warrior case, I don't know, just didn't love it. The Model 6 was the latest one I did. That one was pretty good. Also not my favorite, but well made, good, you know. That one's like 150, so 30% off of that. This one's 200. Let's see. And then the last one is the Shard. They did the Shard in Lefty. Also not my favorite model, but if you like a flipper tab, that's a good one for that. A little bit more expensive on that one because it has fat carbon inlays. These are not left-handed. They do have, it's sold out, the one with the the black blade. That one looks sick, but that one's sold out. So you really have your choice of just a couple models. Let me see if they have a way of searching by left-handed. Open? No. Uses? Knife type? Ah, left-handed. Here we go. So yeah, Shard, Warrior, Model 6, and Fenrir and Pelican EDC. So Lefty EDC 30 gets you 30% off the Lefties. Unfortunately, that will not work on the Cybin. But if you're right-handed and you're watching this, you should already own one of these. It's fucking awesome. So that's it, guys. A little bit of Kansept love. Thank you to Kansept for doing the Lefty discount. Really appreciate that. So Lefty EDC 30 on Lefties, and the new Cybin from Edgy Knifeworks. Edgy Knifeworks or Bladeworks? Edgy Bladeworks. My bad. Did I say Knifeworks the whole time? Shit. Edgy Bladeworks. Love it. Love you guys. Hope you have an absolutely fantastic day, and I will catch you later.